So thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is AMs with Annette, your UK business update, live weekdays at 11 a.m. For those of you that don't know me and you are just tuning in new to my streams, my name is Annette Ferguson. I am CEO of Annette & Co, UK-based accounting firm. I am a chartered accountant and certified Profit First professional, and I help business owners take home more money from their business for them and their families to enjoy. Of course, at this point in time, that is incredibly challenging for many, many business owners, which is exactly one of the reasons why I decided to start AMs with Annette, my weekly live stream, my weekday live stream rather, in order to support you both during this time and of course beyond. So thank you to everyone who is tuning in. Eloisa, lovely to see you again. Slow Lento, thank you for joining me. Mark Andy, thank you for joining me. CS3, thank you for joining me. Yo, it's Callum, thank you for tuning in as well. Who else do we have on the session today? Thank you for those of you that are hopping on. Thank you for those of you that are tuning in. I do very, very much appreciate it. In AMs with Annette, your UK business update, we are basically covering all things around the economy, UK business, the government support, the banking system, all those kinds of things. What I do not cover is anything to do with politics, and I also don't cover anything to do with health based on this current situation that we are in, the current pandemic that we are in. So that gives you a rough outline of what I do and don't cover. Wendy, thank you for joining me this morning. It's lovely to see you as always. So thank you for tuning in. So we have, as always, a number of things to cover off today. For those of you that are liking, I can see there's another people liking, thumbs up, sharing, all those good things, giving me hearts and all that stuff. Thank you so much. I massively, massively appreciate it. So thank you for doing that as well. It helps share it out to more people as well so that they can benefit too. So I want to start today by speaking about the OECD forecasts. The OECD comes out with forecasts every 6 months, twice a year, and we have just had one released, and it is forecasting a deeper recession in the UK than any other of the rich nations. It is saying that we should expect a contraction of 11.5% in 2020. That is only if the world avoids a second wave of coronavirus. It is saying the UK has been most strongly affected because it is based predominantly on services, which of course have been heavily affected. They also go on to say that should we get a second wave, excuse me, we could expect to see a shrink in the economy of around 14% in 2020 as well. And they are saying that 2021 bounce back would only be around 9% for a single wave and 5% for a double wave. So not to expect a immediate recovery in 2021 either, that actually we will see some prolonged effects happening there. The OECD also predict unemployment to rise to at least 9% of the labour force. The Bank of England is actually putting that at 10%, and the OECD is saying if there is a second wave, we can expect unemployment to reach around 10% minimum of the labour force as well. They also believe to prevent further damage, the government needs to be agreeing an extension to the EU withdrawal agreement, and failure to reach a deal will add to the negative consequences for jobs and the economy. This is something I spoke about, I think it was yesterday or the day before, saying that actually if we do have a no-deal Brexit, is expected that we will have further worsening of the economy by around an additional 2 to 5% and an increase of unemployment on top of what we're already likely to see around about 3 million. So that is some very grim reading from the OECD as well. The OECD are also worried about the financial system in the UK and how it will cope. This is in contradiction to the Bank of England, who last week, I believe it was, came out and said that they believe the system is strong and can cope. The OECD are putting some question marks around that. They are saying with the high level of corporate bankruptcies that we can expect in the current months, they are very much the expectation, and I will speak about a couple of those later, then we can expect a much worsening condition, and we need to be very aware of the UK's banking system, the UK's financial system. The OECD's chief economist has said by the end of 2020, the loss of income will exceed that of any previous recession over the last 100 years outside wartime, with dire and long-lasting consequences for people, firms, and governments. So very, very grim reading here from the OECD data and the numbers that they have released. For everyone who is tuning in, thank you so much for joining me. I massively appreciate you tuning in. Dimitri, thank you so much for tuning in again. Thank you, Leah. Thank you for tuning in. Lola, thank you for joining me. Fatima, thank you for joining me. Ellis, thank you for tuning in. H. Alazoy, thank you for following me. I do appreciate that very much. Thank you, everyone who is joining me today. This is AM with Annette, your UK business update. So thank you for joining me. This happens weekdays at 11 a.m. I cover off all things UK business, the economy, all those kinds of things to help and support UK business owners. So that is what you have tuned into if you have stumbled across me. I appreciate all the likes, the loves, the hearts, the shares, the thumbs up, all those good things that I know everybody gives me, whichever platform you are on. So thank you for those. I am very, very grateful. Thank you so much. So I also want to speak about the UK proposed code of conduct aimed at protecting coronavirus hit businesses. This is a code of conduct specifically in relation to businesses that rent premises that has been released, and we are hearing that it's being called woefully inadequate. It is not affording enough protection for businesses from landlords. The UK government says the steps it expects landlord and tenants to take in order to share the property-related costs and business risks of the COVID-19 crisis is in a proportionate and measured way. It is, however, voluntary. It says that tenants should pay rent if they can, and landlords who are in a position to show clemency should do so. It also says tenants should prioritize paying service charges over rent. So this announcement goes nowhere close to a potential rent furlough scheme that has been tossed around, whereby the tenant would pay a proportion of the rent, the landlord would agree to a rent reduction, and the government would pay an amount in the middle to match the two together. This proposed code of conduct doesn't even come close and is being described as incredibly inadequate for the needs of businesses and landlords as well. Following on from that, Brian Bitchell, the chief exec of one of London's biggest West End landlords, says that the traditional leasing model is falling apart as it prepares for a sharp fall in rent repayments over the next few months. He says that tenants may be needed to be supported well into next year. He does not believe this is a short-term issue, and he thinks this will carry on for some time. Says the company expects to collect just over 50% of rent due between April and September, and is moving to a monthly model from October as a result of coronavirus. Many commercial landlords bill on a quarterly basis to their tenants, and as we get towards the end of June, we are recording this on the 11th of June. Towards the end of June is when the next quarterly installments will be due, and there is a big concern that many people will be unable to make those quarterly payments. What the chief exec is saying is that what they are going to do as a business is move to monthly after that to try and protect themselves in some way as well, particularly probably with an eye on a second wave potentially as we come into the winter. So making sure that they are protected in some way. There has, of course, been calls to link revenue to rent and have that kind of model that works in some countries where you have rent payments for retail businesses linked to their level of revenue. Of course, the big issue with that for landlords is they can't control how well a business does. They have no control over the financial savviness of the business owner, the marketing of the business owner. None of that is in their control. So that makes it a little bit difficult, I think, and a little bit potentially unfair on landlords too, who have the asset. And that is, that is what you're paying for. So it's a really tricky one, though. It's a really difficult situation. Following on from the talk of mass corporate failures, the talk of rents being unable to be paid, Monsoon and Quiz have launched into insolvency proceedings. Zara is to shut up to 1,200 stores across Europe, and Heathrow begins job cuts with at least 2,000 roles at risk. So more and more we are hearing about these issues. We are hearing about the job losses that we are expecting. And of course, what we're going to hear is more and more job losses and being announced as well. So that is going to be a big issue as we come up to those redundancy periods as well. So whichever platform you are tuning in today on, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for those watching on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, Twitter, and of course, inside the Uncover Wealth community, my private Facebook group. So thank you for joining me today. This is AMs with Annette, your UK business update. So thank you for tuning in with me today. I appreciate whichever platform you are on, the likes, the loves, the shares, the hearts, the thumbs up, all those good things. So thank you so much for joining me. I do very, very much appreciate it. As always, it seems to be a daily occurrence. I'm just going to block somebody inappropriate from commenting. There we go. That's them dealt with. So thank you for tuning in. I do very much appreciate it. 11 a.m. weekdays is when you can catch this session. So thank you for joining me today. Business groups are expressing concerns over the ongoing closure of schools, warning the policy could prevent parents from getting back to work and slow down the economic growth. Of course, in England from the 15th of June, we have non-essential retail reopening. And this is a big, big issue for many business owners that actually their employees are still having to be at home because their children are not in school. There's a real conflict here with many people. So it's because this is very, very difficult. The FSB, the Federation of Small Business, is saying trying to keep a small business afloat when revenue has taken a massive hit is challenging enough without having to look after children full time as well. So absolutely, even for the small business owner, having to balance that with childcare and looking after their children, homeschooling as well, is a massive, massive challenge too. So difficult times for many businesses, either bigger businesses with employee bases who are unable to return to work, or small businesses, again, with employees who cannot return to work, or who they themselves as business owners are struggling at this point in time to work as a result of lack of schools being open. We hear too that Nucleus Commercial Finance has done some research which shows that 14% of SME owners are using personal savings for immediate financial support. Not surprising here at all, of course. Many SME business owners have had the issue whereby they pay themselves a mixture of salary and dividend. So they are only able to claim furlough for the salary portion of that, which in reality does not make up what their take home is. People criticize that, of course, saying that they've had the good times, therefore they need to take the other side of it. But what it means in reality is that people don't have an amount that they're able to live off. And the alternative, the other issue, is that if you furlough yourself as a director, you can't work, you can't continue running your business. And therefore, would there even be a business to come back to? This is the constant issue, of course, with SMEs, with small limited company directors and that situation. So as we're hearing that 14% are using now personal savings as immediate financial support, not just for themselves, but also for their business as well. Many people not, of course, wanting to take benefit of the bounce back loan scheme because they do not want to take debt into their business. They didn't have debt before and they don't want to run up debt as a result of this situation. So although the bounce back loan has been an incredibly good initiative for many businesses, some business owners still feeling that they feel very unsupported because their only option really is to take a loan. And that is not what they want to do. They don't want to sell their business with debt. So that leaves us with some issues too. We're hearing that 44% have either applied for or considered seeking additional financial support over and above the government support schemes as well. So SME business owners obviously feeling a massive strain at the moment, understandably so. They have businesses where perhaps revenues have dropped to zero or near that, and that puts a massive strain both on the business's finances and often on the finances of the individual as well. So I appreciate you joining me today. I appreciate you tuning in. This is AM's with Annette, your UK business update, weekdays at 11 a.m. UK. So thank you for everyone who's tuning in. Thank you, Lewis. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Arben. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Rube. Thank you, Jamie. Oh, Jamie, lovely to see you again. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate everyone who is joining. If you are just joining just now, in all honesty, you've missed the bulk of what I was speaking about today, but you can catch the replay. So most platforms that you are watching on, of course, have the replay available. In Instagram, that goes into IGTV on my profile, so you can come and follow me and check that out. On TikTok, if you have just tuned in and you've missed most of the session, you can, of course, hop over to Instagram or YouTube. Both links are in my bio and catch up the rest of this session. As I say, this is AMs with Annette, your UK business update, happening weekdays at 11 a.m, where we cover all things around UK business, the economy, the support available, and all those kind of good things that are applicable to UK businesses at this point in time. So that is everything that I want to share today. Like I say, I do appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for joining me. If you are not already a member of the Uncover Wealth community, that is my free and private Facebook group. I would love if you want to join me there. That is a place where I share exclusive trainings and sessions as well. So please do come and join me inside the Uncover Wealth community. You just need to hop over to Facebook and put Uncover Wealth community into the search bar, answer the joining questions, hit join, and I would love to see you in there. So once again, thanks for tuning in today. I cannot wait to see you over in the Uncover Wealth community as well if you're not already a member there. Hello to everyone who is watching, who is in the Uncover Wealth community already. I do appreciate you tuning in as always. Thank you for joining me today. I will be back again tomorrow at 11 a.m. Also, whilst I am here, I am doing strategic chats later today. That is at 3 p.m. on Thursdays. Strategic chats, you can come onto Zoom with me and ask me any question you like about your business and get my opinion, my views, and what I might do in your situation. You can ask any questions about my business too if you wish. So that is 3 p.m. on Thursdays. To register and get the Zoom link, you need to go to annetteandco.co.uk/strategic chat. That is plural strategic chats, and that is in the link in my bio as well. Whichever platform you are on, you can head there and get the link to that strategic chat, so that you can join me and come on Zoom as well. So I'd love to see you there. We are streaming that session too. So if you just want to come and watch, or if you're shy and you'd rather ask a question in the comments, then you can that, of course, as well. So pop that in your diary, 3 p.m. today, whichever platform you are on. I will be back answering your questions about your business or about mine. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I do appreciate your time. As always, I know it's incredibly precious, and thank you for spending some of it with me. And I will speak